Hey guys! Chitofehadung's here today to compare and clarify the differences between Sirui and Vazen anamorphic lenses today. Sirui is younger at making lenses, with their 50mm coming out in December of 2019 and releasing another two focal lengths during 2020, a 35mm and a 24mm. Vazen released their 40mm on mid-2019 and the other two focal lengths, a 28 and a 65mm, over a year and a half. They're both Chinese manufacturers and they have strong communities. I asked what you wanted to see in this video and I'm addressing the responses I got. In this video, we'll be looking at the differences in size and weight, mounting options, sensor coverage, the field of view, minimum focus, and focus breathing. That's a lot. Those shots will lead us into bokeh, looking at the effects of different squeeze factors, 1.33 for Sirui and 1.8 times for Vazen, and the quality of bokeh. We'll look at sharpness and resolution for both lenses at different apertures, and of course, compare flares. Lastly, we'll look at the different price points and what are the reasons for that difference. If you feel like skipping ahead, use the chapters in the timeline or the times in the description. I have reviewed all of the 6 lenses separately, so if you want more info about one of them specifically, you can find the links in the description as well. Let's get started by checking if these sets are well matched with some real-world tests, and if we can mix and match lenses from the two makers in the same project. I shot this footage using both sets and tried to get it well mixed in the edit. So pay close attention to check if anything pops, indicating which shots were done with which lens. I found that it was pretty smooth to shoot with any of the 6 lenses in the field, and the Vazen's required a bit more arm strength and called more attention from onlookers than Sirui, and both sets were a much simpler experience than using adapters. Using the GH5 for these tests was key. The 1.33 times squeeze from Sirui can be easy to handle without proper D-squeeze on camera or an external monitor, making it more versatile for users who don't want to invest on extra gear. Vazen's 1.8 times squeeze factor is more challenging to work with if you don't have a properly stretched out image while shooting. I didn't feel like I needed lenses any longer or wider, as each set gave me a good variety on their fields of view and allowed me to shoot freely. Matching the colors was not a hard task as long as you do a proper white balance on set, but that applies to any lenses, not just the ones being compared here. Now, on to more technical aspects. By comparing the outside of these lenses first, the Siruis are smaller and lighter, and the Vazen 28 is much smaller than its siblings. Vazen offers focus and iris gears built in, while only the Sirui 35 comes with gears as an option. For a video market, the 24 and 50 could benefit from gears too. If the size and weight are deal breakers for you, your choice here is clear for Sirui. Focus and iris are smooth and clickless on all 6 lenses, which is excellent. They are all pretty fast lenses between 1.8 and 2.8. Almost all of them have different filter threads, as you can see on the screen, which is less than great for a unified set, but nothing impossible to work with. Vazen requires custom rings for the 40mm, while the 65mm has 86mm threads, while Sirui can benefit from step rings up to 77mm like I have here. All 6 lenses are offered in MFT mount by default, but Sirui also offers different mounting options. These options change for each focal length, so make sure that all 3 are compatible with your system if you're going for them. When we talk about sensor coverage, we start to get into the meat and potatoes of this shootout. While the Vazens are designed for MFT and its 2 times crop, Sureis can cover APS-C or Super 35 comfortably, and even a little bit more. This is going to come in handy later on when comparing the fields of view. I shot these tests with the Zcam E2 f6 full frame camera using their MFT mount, so we could get this unified comparison. Both of these sets are anamorphic. That's the whole point of the video, right? And they have different squeeze factors. Vazen's 1.8 and Sirui is 1.33. That plays into the resulting field of view of each focal length. So here I'll pair them 2 by 2 across the set. On MFT, I'm shooting with the GH5 and using the 4x3 open gate mode. The Sirui 24mm matches a 48mm lens on vertical field of view and 36mm horizontally. Its match, the Vazen 28, is 56mm vertically, so a little tighter, but has 31mm horizontal field of view because of the stronger squeeze. Surei's 35mm turns into a 70mm vertical and 52mm horizontal, while Vazen's 40 is 80mm vertical and 44 horizontal. Lastly, Surei's 50mm is equivalent to 100mm vertically and 75mm horizontally. And that stacks against Vazen's 65, which is 130mm vertically and 72mm horizontally. So on the MFT battleground, all Vazen lenses are wider than Sirui. But if you're using the Sirui lenses on APS-C or Super 35 camera, then the numbers change a bit. So the 24 becomes a 36 by 27 millimeters. The 35 becomes a 52 vertical by 40 millimeters horizontal, and the 50mm becomes a 75 by 56 millimeters. These are a lot wider vertically and just a bit wider horizontally when compared to the Vazens on MFT. Keep in mind their squeeze factors here, as the differences between them will be very noticeable in the next round of tests, minimum focus. This will also give you a chance to look at different renditions for depth of field over multiple focal lengths. Surei's 35 and 50 have minimum focus at 85 centimeters or 2'9", which is okay for 50 millimeters, but feels a bit too far for the 35. Notice also how this target doesn't look like a perfect circle. And also look at the bokeh. On the 24mm, minimum focus is shorter at 60 centimeters or 2 feet. For Vazen, the 28mm, a minimum focus is 82 centimeters or 2'8", which is pretty far for such a wide angle lens. The same applies to the 40mm with minimum focus at 82 centimeters or 2'8". Notice how the circle target looks even in these tests. And minimum focus gets further again with the 65mm at 1.1 meter or 3'7". Also, bokeh is much more pronounced in these lenses. I'm not gonna rack focus with all of them because these comparisons are getting out of hand. But I'll have something about this coming up on a later video, so subscribe to the channel. For now, let's look at the longer lenses. 50mm for Sirui and 65mm for Vazen. Notice how breathing is different between them. That's because of their different focus methods, and that's the main reason for Vazen's larger size. This difference is what ensures the squeeze will remain constant while focusing, while Sirui will change from 1.33 at infinity to 1.25 at close focus. Bokeh is quite different between Surei's and Vazen's. Both sets provide smooth oval shapes through the range, thanks to plenty of aperture blades, but you can see distortion in play as we move from the center of the frame towards the edges, with cut-off shapes and less perfect ovals. Continuing on the anamorphic traits, the flares on both lens sets are somewhat similar, with Surei's pending more to teal and Vazen's to purple. We can see the root of this difference by looking at the coatings on both sets. All 6 lenses flare easily, and if you're in it for flares, you'll be happy with either choice. If sharpness and performance wide open is the one deciding factor for you, Sirui is sharper, especially at close focus, even when at its fastest stop. We can see a little bit of chromatic aberration with purple and green at high contrast edges, and how light fall off improves when stopping down, especially looking at the corners. We can see the Vazen struggle more wide open with poor performance for the 40mm, but improve when stopped down. Performance is constant across the frame, and the 65mm is the best performer in the set. Some of these performance differences come from the stronger squeeze factor and how the optical design is dealing with astigmatism, that is different focus for the vertical and horizontal fields. This brings us to the last comparison between them, price. While Sirui sells for $700 to $900 per lens, each Vazen lens costs $3,250. For some people, that's the end of the conversation right here. If you're starting out or unsure if anamorphic is your thing, it's hard to justify spending $3,000 on a single lens. If you watched this whole video, you might be able to tell some of the reasons for the price difference. I think the biggest one is that Sirui is aimed at a broader market, more mount options with more sensor coverage, a cellular squeeze that doesn't require additional gear, and a lens that you can use just anywhere as an introduction to anamorphic shooting. Vazen, on the other hand, is trying to walk the tougher path of a cine lens by giving you geared rings, by giving you T-stops instead of f-stops for iris, and a stronger anamorphic squeeze factor. This constant squeeze factor is also a big deal, requiring more challenging mechanics and optics, which in turn increase the price. The Vazen lineup is a much more focused tool set aimed at MFT shooters with 4x3 sensors, basically GH5s and Z-cams. Does that justify that you can buy almost 5 Sirui lenses for the price of a Vazen? It depends on what your priorities are. I believe Sirui is more focused in bringing people to anamorphic shooting, which I love and admire, while Vazen caters to an already established market of professionals. What's your take on this difference? Sirui or Vazen, and why? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you very much for hanging out. Like this video and help me reach more people who are curious about the differences between these two lens makers. I hope you have an excellent week, and I'll see you next time. Zit te verder, out.